What's up mga kamonggay? Today we're going to learn four things. First,
How to download and install ISO file.
second,
How to download and install VirtualBox.
and third, we're going to create a virtual machine. And lastly, we're going to install ISO file in a virtual machine. So,
Let's get started in 3, 2, 1.
So let's start with downloading and installing ISO file. And by the way, you will need to have an internet connection to do this one. And you can use any browser like Internet Explorer, Microsoft Edge, Firefox, or Google Chrome. So I'll be using Google Chrome. Just open that. And then on the address bar, you can type in a keyword. In my case, I'll type in download Windows 10. And then you need to look for a website that's coming from the manufacturer, which is Microsoft. So I have it here. Just open the link. And once it is loaded, you will be given other uses of an ISO file. You have the first one. It is used to upgrade your PC. For example, you got a Windows 7, 8, or 8.1 and you wanted to upgrade it to Windows 10, so you can check this out. And if you wanted to create a bootable media or installation media and save it on your USB DVD, you can also check this option. But since we're going to download and save it onto the PC locally, so I'm just going to select this button, download tool now. I'm clicking on that, and on the bottom left corner of the page, it's under process. It will not take a while, and it's pretty much done. So once successful, you just need to open it. And usually you will be prompted with a user account control. If you are, then just hit on yes for you to be able to proceed. Let me just minimize this. And here we have the Windows 10 setup, getting a few things ready. We are already done with the download part. Now we are going to convert that tool that we have downloaded to an ISO file. ISO file is actually a jargon for um, for most of the people. So you can use an installer instead, the term installer. Either of the two, they are actually just the same. And getting a few things ready on this process is actually checking your PC, the storage and the requirements. So we have here the terms and condition. You can read through the terms and you need to accept the terms. Otherwise, you can't proceed. So I'll hit on accept and we will just wait for this one to finish. So you will have this option, upgrade this PC now and create installation media for another PC. First option is applicable if you're going to automatically update your device to Windows 10. But if you wanted to use the ISO file for another device or save it on a USB or a DVD to use it in a later time, you can select or you can choose this option. And I'm going to choose this option since we're not going to upgrade a PC and we're going to use the ISO file on the virtual machine that we were going to download later on. So I'll just hit on next. And this is actually recommended based on what PC am I using. But you can actually change the language, edition, and architecture if you want. But I'll go with the default. So I'll just hit on next. And over here, this is actually where you wanted to save the file. If you got a USB flash drive, then you better choose this option. Make sure that it is at least 8 gigabyte and it should be empty. And ISO file is if you wanted to save it on the local storage of the device, or if you wanted to burn it to a DVD later on, so you can select this option and hit the next. And you can choose a location where you wanted to save the ISO file. I can choose desktop or even download, but I'll choose desktop. And then I can name the file to any name that I want, as long as I would be able to recognize it later on. And by the way, we're going to download the Windows 10 2004 version, since on the Microsoft website the latest version will be downloaded automatically. Otherwise, if you wanted to choose the other version like 1909, that's a different process. So right now, what we are downloading is Windows 10 2004. And then just hit on save, and the download process would begin. Right now, it's still at a 0%. We actually just need to wait for this one to finish up until 100%. Usually it would take about 30 minutes to an hour, or maybe 45 minutes to an hour, but it depends on your internet connection. If you get a very good internet connection, so maybe that would take around 15 or 30 minutes, but the estimated time is really 45 minutes to an hour. So once you're done, so once it's already at 100%, then you're good. Since we have successfully downloaded and installed an ISO file, now we'll proceed with downloading and installing a virtual machine. Now, what is a virtual machine? It actually acts as a hypervisor where you can create a virtual machine and run another operating system inside an operating system. For example, Hyper-V, which is developed by Microsoft. We also have Oracle VirtualBox, which is developed by Oracle Corporation. And today we're going to show you how to download and install Oracle VirtualBox. So same thing, you need to have an internet connection and you can use any browser. And please check on the comment section below. I actually provided the link where you can download the installer. So just copy the link and paste it on the address bar so that you will be routed automatically. And once you are on the page, please select the option according to the device where you are going to download the VirtualBox. In my case, I'll be using it in a Windows 7 device, so I will select Windows Host. And as you can see on the bottom left corner of the page, the process is actually ongoing. So we just need to wait for this one to finish. Alright, so we have successfully downloaded the installer. So I'm going to open this, or I'll show it in folder so that I can run this as administrator. So just like right click and then run as administrator. It's important to run it as administrator so that you would not encounter any difficulties or any error, just in case it needs an administrator right. And usually you will be prompted with the user account control. So if you are, then just select yes, enable to proceed. So let me just minimize this so that you would be able to see. And now we're going to set up our Oracle VirtualBox. Just hit the next. And this is actually the location of your VirtualBox. It's under C drive, program files, Oracle, and then VirtualBox. But you can actually browse and save it to a different location if you want, but I would choose what's recommended. So I'll just hit the next. Same goes with this one. I'm not going to change anything and just stick to the recommended one. So I'll proceed with next and then proceed with installation now. Select yes and then just select the install button to be able to proceed with the installation process. And this may take a while, but you just need to wait for this one to finish and you're good. So as you can see here, we have successfully downloaded and installed our VirtualBox. So we can just hit on finish and the VirtualBox would automatically launch since we have checked the option that says start Oracle VirtualBox after installation. So let me go ahead and hit finish and you should be good. Now we are going to proceed with creating a virtual machine using the VirtualBox that we had downloaded earlier. So I have here the virtual machine, and for us to be able to create a virtual machine, we will click on New and then we need to name our virtual machine. I'll name it Windows 10. And as you can see, you have here the type and the version and also the folder where you will save your virtual box or virtual machine. So let me just hit on next and I'll just stick with the default since I'm just going to install a Windows in it and no other application or software. So let me hit on next and create. And in this one, I'm not going to make any changes since I'm not going to use this virtual machine on other virtualization software. So I'll just continue with next and I'll choose dynamically allocated just in case I need more space, then that would be good because a fixed size is have a specific size or it cannot expand the size when needed. So I'll hit the next and for the file location and size I'll stick to the default. So let me just go ahead and create. And now we already have our virtual machine. Now let's proceed with installing ISO file on our virtual machine. What we need to do is to go on the settings and under settings we have a lot. We have system, display, storage, audio, network and so on. But the most important thing is the storage. Under storage, as you can see, our virtual machine is empty. So we are going to put in here the ISO file that we had downloaded earlier. So hover your mouse to this icon and then choose a disk file. And we're going to locate that ISO file. And it's over here. So let me select that, open, and there you go. You have the ISO file there. And then just hit an OK. Alright. And then your virtual machine is already set up. Now we can select start to proceed with the installation of the ISO or setting up the ISO on a virtual machine. So let me hit on start. And let's just wait for it to load. And then start again. Let me just maximize this. Whenever you have a notification out there, that's okay. You can just exit out and Right now you are already on the Windows 10 setup. So it actually looks the same way when you do a installation on your Windows using BIOS. So let me just expand this. Okay, so let me hit on next and then install now. On this part, we actually don't have a product key, so we can skip this by selecting I don't have a product key, and then we can choose what system we want. We will just have a Windows 10 Home with 64-bit. So let's hit next. And then accept to the license terms, otherwise you can't proceed. And we have two options here, upgrade and custom. For the upgrade, it is useful when you have another version of Windows, but if you're going to do a fresh install, then you better choose this custom. Right now, we don't have other Windows on our virtual machine, so we will choose this part here. And then we already have the unallocated space, since again this is the first time we just set up the ISO. So let me just go ahead and proceed, hit on next. And then this is already the part where it's installing the Windows. So we need to wait for this one to finish, copying Windows files, getting files ready for installation, installing features, installing updates, and finishing up. We will just wait for this one to finish. It may take a while though. Alright, right now our Windows is already restarting. And you can add your account here, your Microsoft account. And you can choose either to select yes or no if you want to send to Microsoft your history and the browser that you're trying to visit with. I'll just select no. And now you are already on the part where you are going to set up your device. Almost done. You are already done with your out-of-box experience. This is how it looks like on a Windows 10 on your virtual machine. So it's really the same with just a normal Windows. So I hope that you've learned something, and thank you so much. Bye bye.